Tibia ossifies with the help of one primary center and two secondary centers. Primary center is the one that appears before birth, that is intrauterine life, whereas secondary center usually they appear after birth during the early years of life after birth. So tibia ossifies with the help of one primary center and two secondary centers. The primary center of the tibia is for the shaft, and it appears within the 7th week of intrauterine life. Two secondary centers, out of which one secondary center is for the upper end and the second secondary center is for the lower end. The secondary center for the upper end appears just before birth. That is, it also appears before birth instead of appearing after birth as per rule, in which it is said that secondary centers, they appear after birth. But in case of the upper end of the tibia, one of these secondary centers for the tibia appears before birth. This point is of medico-legal importance because if, unfortunately, if a fetus is found, a dead fetus is found, who is not claimed by anyone, by any family or by any parents. So how do we determine his or her age? We take the ultrasound of that fetus. So if the fetus, if the upper end of the tibia has already been formed, that means that fetus had died before birth. Fine. So this point is of great medico-legal importance because it helps us to determine the age of a baby, whether the baby died in the uterus of the mother or it died after birth. This secondary center for the upper end fuses with the shaft at 16 to 18 years of adult life. Secondary center for the lower end of the tibia appears after birth during the first year of life, and it forms the medial malleolus during the 7th year of life. And this secondary center completes its ossification by fusing with the shaft of the tibia at 15 to 17 years of life. So tibial fractures, they make up one of the commonest sites of fracture in the lower limbs. Why? Because most of the features of the tibia, like its anterior border and medial surface, are subcutaneous. So anything that is subcutaneous, any part of the bone that is subcutaneous, makes it liable or vulnerable to the injury, immediate injury or fracture. So the weakest point on the tibia is considered to be the junction between the middle third and inferior third of the tibial shaft. Junction between the middle and inferior thirds of the shaft of tibia is considered to be the weak point of the tibia. And also another point related with this weak point is that it receives poor blood supply, hence again making it vulnerable to fracture and more susceptible to damage. Other fractures regarding tibia include compound fracture, transverse stress march fracture, diagonal fracture, and boot top fracture. Compound fracture, as the name is indicating, compound fracture are much more, they are extensive fractures. The cause is usually direct trauma to the shaft of the tibia, as in case of road traffic accidents in which a person gets hit by the bumper of a car. Hence, such fractures are called bumper fractures. Then other common tibial fracture is the transverse stress or march fracture. It is commonly observed in hikers who take long hikes, who walk for longer periods of time before any practice, and footballers as they tackle the football with their legs in the field. So this type of fracture is commonly observed in these people. The fracture includes fracture of the anterior cortex of the tibia. You know that a bone comprises of an outer cortex and inner medulla. So this fracture includes the disruption of the outer shell, which is called the cortex of the tibia, and commonly observed in case of hikers who take long hikes and they do not have any previous experience with long hikes, and footballers who try to tackle the football with their lower part of the leg near the ankle in the field. Then third most common fracture is the diagonal fracture. It is commonly observed in people who go for skiing. Diagonal fracture includes fracture at the weak point. And what was the weak point? Junction between the middle and inferior thirds. This fracture is often accompanied by the fracture of fibula as well. And the name is indicating diagonal. It is going to be, what is going to be the line of direction of this fracture? Oblique. So because of this oblique segments, fracture segments, there is going to be limb shortening because of the overriding of the fractures, right? Like in this case. This is a diagonal fracture and it includes two upward and downward segments, fracture segments, which are going to override each other. Hence, they may shorten the lower limb because of the overlapping or overriding of these two fracture segments over each other. Then we have boot top fracture. Boot top fracture is also a type of diagonal fracture, again commonly observed in people who go for skiing. What happens in boot top fracture is that during skiing, the leg is angled over the rigid ski boots, like in this case. If you see in this diagram on the right side of the slide, you can see the outline of a boot has been highlighted, it has been outlined, right? This black line also in this diagram. And you can see that the the lower part of the tibia and fibula, they can be seen angling over the or bending over the boot, ski boot. So this fracture at this site is labeled as boot top fracture. Cutaneous innervation of the leg.